Real Virginia is proudly produced by the Virginia Farm Bureau. For nearly a century, Farm Bureau has been a friend of the farm for all Virginians. Visit our website at vafb.com. Hello everyone, and welcome to Real Virginia, a show about Virginia agriculture and the people who produce the wonderful local products we enjoy. Brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau. Here's what's coming up on this week's show. Blue catfish are eating oysters, crabs, and other marine life at an alarming pace. Chef Tammy shows us how to use grains instead of lettuce for a delicious summer salad. And we look at the creative solutions farm parents are finding for childcare.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay, Atlantic to Appalachia, home in my heart always.
Welcome back to Real Virginia, everyone. We're coming to you this week from Amory Seafood in Hampton, Virginia, one of many marinas where watermen head out to fish Virginia's waters. But the blue catfish is eating up many of the crabs, oysters, and other seafood that Virginians have come to enjoy. Catfishing begins in the early morning darkness on the Pamunkey River in New Kent County for fishermen Chris Von Hatten and Christopher Whitmire. They get on the water at 3 a.m. and work until midday, hoping to catch 3,000 to 4,000 pounds of catfish before heading back to shore. By daybreak, the fish are definitely still biting, but these watermen and many others are concerned that the catfish are eating up the other species in these rivers that lead to the Chesapeake Bay, making those other fish, oysters, crabs, and clams more scarce.
I mean, from the crabbers' point of view, it's drastically reduced the amount of crabs. I mean, same with the shad, American shad, and the eels. I mean, there used to be plenty of eels in this river, and not so many anymore.
Wild blue catfish were stocked in the tributaries of the Chesapeake Bay in the 1970s and 80s as a trophy fish for recreational fishermen. Over the past 15 years, the blue catfish has thrived to the point that they've eaten into the population of many other species in Virginia waters.
I mean, they go all the way down, to the Chesapeake Bay, down toward, like Gloucester. People have been catching them down there in gill nets. I know down in Buckrow, on Buckrow Beach, they've been catching them on fishing poles.
Catfish are able to go into salt water, but they eventually need to be back in fresh water, such as the Pamunkey River, which leads to the York River, which leads to the Chesapeake Bay. The bay itself is an estuary where fresh water from the rivers mixes with salt water from the Atlantic Ocean.
We're kind of on the precipice of what I would say is a catastrophic event in our seafood economy because of the blue catfish. They're literally consuming anything they can get into their mouth, and they're doing it very effectively. So while it has become this massive ecological and socioeconomic concern, they also happen to taste really good.
And there lies the silver lining in the blue catfish problem. They have more flavor than what most people think catfish tastes like.
A lot of people receive the word catfish as being a bottom feeder. It doesn't have that good, sweet, firm white meat like the wild blue catfish does. And it's perception that you got to get over that hurdle and put it in your mouth and try it. It was a great product, white, firm, sweet meat, high in protein and low in fat.
Many Virginia restaurants also have started offering blue catfish on their menus.
Scrimp Shack is one here from D.C. down in North Carolina. It's 13 or 15 of those, and they put it on as a seasonal item last year and this year. And they have the same thing. It's introducing it to the public and what it is and perceived as just not catfish.
Despite the blue catfish's voracious appetite, not everyone believes they're bad for Virginia's seafood industry.
It's a new fishery. It creates jobs for watermen, boat companies, fuel companies, gear companies, distribution companies, trucking companies, packaging companies, food service, retail, and restaurants.
The inspection process for blue catfish moved from the Food and Drug Administration to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, and that has led to a shortage of processing facilities for these watermen to take the catfish that they catch.
Then when processed it, you got a 75% yield loss. You only recover 20 to 25% yield of it because of the belly content, and the big head and stomach on it. So that, even though they say they get 60, 70 cents a pound at the dock for them, the waterman really can't work for less than that with the cost of fuel, boats, equipment, and transportation.
Van Houten and his crew are able to fish in the fresh waters of the Pamunkey River, but he would like to bring in more than just catfish.
American shad, American eel, your rockfish, striped bass. All those fish do come up here to spawn. And, well, as soon as they have their little babies, I mean, you got your vacuum cleaner going around eating them. I mean, it needs to be removed out of here because, I mean, if it does start to take over, at a certain point, all those fish species can't survive.
Those who have studied the catfish problem believe the invasive species is here to stay. Question is how best to manage them in order to maintain the ecologic diversity of the Chesapeake Bay and its rivers and tributaries. Seafood lovers can do their part by ordering blue catfish at restaurants and buying them at local grocery stores. On the Pamunkey River in New Kent County, I'm Burke Moeller for Rio, Virginia.
Virginia ranks third in the nation in commercial seafood and is the #1 seafood producer on the East Coast. The Old Dominion also ranks first for oysters and clams. These and other marine life have become part of the blue catfish's diet, and adult blue catfish have few natural predators. A recent presentation by Virginia Tech said blue catfish can grow to more than 100 pounds, with an average length between 2 and 5 feet. They normally live for about 10 years, and they will feed on almost anything they encounter. Blue catfish now represent 75% of the biomass in the James, Rappahannock, and York rivers.
I'm Ed Olson with From the Ground Up. Today we're going to be talking about drip irrigation and how it can save you some water as well as some time on your garden tasks. Stay with us.
Every year, 500 people in the United States die in an all-terrain vehicle-related accident, and another 1,000 people are seriously injured. Sadly, many of those victims are children.
Number one tip for riding an ATV is definitely wearing a helmet. You think about the opportunity to overturn an ATV. Imagine your head the same density as a watermelon and how easy it would be to crack. One of the biggest things that we always push for anybody we train is always make sure that you have a good quality helmet before you ride.
This message brought to you by the Virginia Farm Bureau Safety Advisory Committee.
Experts say drip irrigation is more efficient and better for your garden overall. Ed Olson with Virginia Cooperative Extension has some tips for getting started from the ground up.
We're here today at the Fauquier Education Farm with Executive Director Jim Hankins. Jim, we're going to talk about irrigation today, and I see a lot of components on the table here. Can you tell us what we're looking at and how we're going to use these?
This is a super garden kit, or most of the components from a garden kit. There are wonderful companies, if you just look up irrigation supplies, that sell the entire kit, everything you need except for the hose to go from your house out to your garden. Drip irrigation is really, really so much more efficient and so much better for your garden than taking a sprinkler out or taking a hose out.
Yes.
You know, it's really easy to use. It's affordable.
Okay.
And you know, you can get garden kits for a raised bed, for a string of flower pots, or for acres. You know, it's made up primarily, there will be a large feeder hose, which is where your garden hose will attach. And then off of that feeder hose, there are 20, this particular garden kit made for 20 of them, 20 of these little connectors. From the connector, it will go into the drip tape itself.
Okay.
This drip tape has a tiny little hole in it every 8 inches. This drip tape, instead of, you know, pennies per foot, it's like 6 feet per penny. It is really, really inexpensive. It's drip irrigation. It comes out really slowly, just a little bit, also called trickle irrigation. And you know, it's going right at the base of your plant. If you're using that sprinkler system, you're watering your walkways, you're watering your weeds,
yes,
and you're adding a whole lot of disease pressure to your garden.
Okay.
Most of the tomato diseases in Virginia are called waterborne diseases. So if you're wetting your plants down every day, that's an invitation for disease. The other components here, this one comes with a filter. If you're using well water, you might want to use that. It's also a pressure reducer. This operates on 4 to 6 pounds per square inch pressure.
Okay.
And you get a pressure gauge that you can connect right in there to let you know if you're pumping it up too much. This one comes with all of these plugs for the ends of the drip tape. You know, I'm doing hundreds and hundreds of rows every year. I just tie a knot in the end. It will leak a little bit, but it's a drip irrigation system. It's okay. You know, I try to make it easy. It's affordable. You should be able to do it yourself. You know, you don't need any. And compared to soaker hoses or something like that, soaker hoses are really expensive.
Yes.
They'll get clogged up, they'll go bad, and the drip is easier to use.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you for explaining all of this on the table here for us, but we're going to actually go see it in action.
Absolutely.
Well, Jim, we're out here in your one of your hoop houses, and we've got drip irrigation going on right in front of us. Can you explain what we're seeing here?
This drip has been on for a couple hours this morning.
Okay.
I just walked by, raised the handle on the spigot, and you can see nothing is being sprayed out of the drip irrigation. There's just a tiny amount of water. If I come by and clean it, you can see that there's every 8 inches, just a tiny little flow of water, drip, drip, drip. I'll leave it running for about 3 hours at a time, about every other day, and that really does, and that's inside this high tunnel where we don't get any rain.
Yeah.
That's plenty.
Okay. And we can see here really on the landscape fabric that the water is not really going very far away.
No, the landscape fabric I love. It goes right down. I like to say water is smart enough to know which way is down, and it goes right straight down. And, you know, this is just such a simple system, and it works. You can see these are happy peppers.
Yes. And as you mentioned earlier, it keeps the moisture off the leaves, so we're not getting foliar diseases. And here we can clearly see that there's nothing on the foliage.
There's no spraying going on. You're watering right at the base of the plant.
Well, thank you so much, Jim, for showing us around today and showing us this drip irrigation system. For From the Ground Up, I'm Ed Olson. For more information about drip irrigation, contact your local extension office and talk to a master gardener. See you next time.
From the Ground Up is presented with the generous advice and assistance of Virginia Cooperative Extension. Visit their website at ext.vt.edu.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Coming up on Heart of the Home, a world of grain salad. We hope you'll stay with us.
Farming is a rewarding way of life, but it can also be full of challenges. If you or someone you know is struggling, call or text the AgriStress helpline at 833-897-2473. It offers 24/7 access to professionals who can support someone in need and help find mental health services in your community. Please make the call, because healthy farms depend on healthy farm families. That's 833-897-2474.
Salads don't need lettuce or other greens. Chef Tammy Brawley shows us how to make a great summer salad using grains from the heart of the home.
Hi, I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen, and welcome to Heart of the Home. I'm going to show you guys a delicious summer salad that you can make. I love doing this to beat the heat, but it is a grain salad. You know, one of the things that is kind of a misnomer is people think salads need to be lettuces and things like that, but they really don't. They can be grains. And today we're actually using a red rice and an orzo, and we're going to be adding a delicious dressing and vegetables to that. Rices do come in various colors. The red and the black rices are wild rices. They're going to have a little bit more of a chewy texture to them, and adding them to an orzo is absolutely fabulous. We are going to make a nice little dressing to go with this. I'm going to use a little hand stick blender, and we're going to add to our blender about 5 tablespoons or so of olive oil. Just put this in a little hand stick blender. And then to the olive oil, we're actually going to add some lemon zest and some lemon juice. A very simple dressing. I love this. It's so vibrant. Lemon is probably one of my favorite things to work with. And just a little bit of sugar. Salt and pepper. All right, I'm going to put our little blender together here. We're looking for a little emulsification, as it's called, and we're trying to get an acid and an oil together, trying to sort of a forced marriage to a certain extent. I'll check the consistency out. Oh, it's beautiful. That can rest for a second. And now I have gone ahead and cooked the orzo and the red rice. Saw no real reason to show you guys how to do that. You've obviously cooked rice and orzo before. We are going to mix this up. So we have a pasta and we have a rice in here. I'm going to just kind of mix that up together. I'm going to make a little bit more room for myself. We let this cool after it's cooked. Pretty important there. Toss it with a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't really stick together. And now to this mixture we are going to add some beautiful green onions, some shredded carrot, some cucumber, and some Kalamata olives. If you don't like either of those ingredients, you can certainly omit them. I personally love them all. And the olives do add a nice little salty balance. The recipe might say to chop the carrots, but I just believe, why don't we just do shredded carrots? Also gives it a little bit more of a texture. I'm going to add all those vegetables together in the salad. Mix them up with a spoon here. And it's not a lot of dressing that gets added, but you can certainly double that if you'd like. It's just going to have a nice little lemon flavor. And we're going to hit it with a good little handful of parsley, fresh parsley. Probably grown in your own garden there, which is great. I have friends that are growing cucumbers coming out of their ears, and so we're getting cucumbers right and left. It's great to have your own garden vegetables in your food. All right, so now we're going to come back with that dressing. Lemon and olive oil and a little salt and pepper. Very simple and very vibrant, delicious flavor. Nice and stirred up. Do want to taste for seasoning to see if we need to add any more salt and pepper to it. And there you have it, a delicious grain salad with those garden vegetables you've got growing and that lemon olive oil dressing. I'm Chef Tammy Brawley from the Green Kitchen. Join us next time on Heart of the Home.
Recipes from the Heart of the Home can be found on the Virginia Farm Bureau website at vafb.com/recipes, as well as on Chef Tammy Brawley's website at greenkitchenrichmond.com.
Thinking of growing your own herbs? Start with parsley. Plant in full sun, water well, and here in Virginia, if you're in hardiness zones 8A or 8B, you can start planting as early as March. Parsley is a biennial. It grows leaves in the first year and flowers in the second. Flat leaf parsley packs bold flavor. Curly parsley is great for garnishes, while Hamburg parsley has an earthy and herbal flavor, often described as tasting like celery. When harvesting, cut with scissors to resist damaging the plant by pulling. Soak in some cold water to keep the bugs at bay, and enjoy your fresh Virginia-grown parsley.
Childcare can be difficult enough to find in many communities, but in rural areas, it can be extra challenging. Elijah Griles has more.
Raising a family on a farm may sound like an easy escape from the demands of modern life. But even though 95% of Virginia farms are family-owned, farm parenting is a challenge. We visited the moms of Gathering Springs Farm to learn about their unique solutions and why it's all worth it.
When I decided that I wanted some kind of agrarian lifestyle, be that hobby farm, homestead, commercial operation, one of the main driving factors for me was this idea that, wow, what a great childhood for a kid to grow up on a farm, to understand how their food is grown, to have that very like intimate relationship with the whole process, like the wins and the losses of eating food grown where you live.
Connecting on a shared vision of being farm families, Pamela Jones and Sarah Obahovich started Gathering Springs Farm in 2018.
And I was like, well, how about we start our own small operation on my land? I think I emailed her. It was very informal, very out of the blue, like, hey, what do you think about this? And she emailed back within 15 minutes saying, I have no idea how this looks, but yes, let's do it.
Pam's vision to homestead and having already purchased this land, she kind of, after meeting me and us becoming friends, she was like, I think I could actually make a farm happen here. Do you want to do that with me? So that's a very easy yes for someone who wants to do this, but also doesn't have a land.
7 years later, Jones and Obahovich raise eggs and small fruits and vegetables for customers at their on-farm store, local farmers markets, and monthly subscriptions. As their families and farm business grew, so did the need for creative childcare solutions.
My son was born early 2020. Sarah's first son was born in August of 2020. We didn't have childcare that first year, and we just had one employee, and we just made it work. Sometimes I'd be in the house and Sarah's son would be napping and I would be keeping an eye on the monitor whilst looking after my son. Sometimes I would be wearing him. A lot of time I would be wearing him.
I think the thing that neither of us were fully aware of at the beginning was that every season looks different, because every phase of those first 5 or 6 years is so different. You have an immobile baby, that's great. You stick them in a little pack and play and they can hang out. The second that thing starts crawling, now you can't, right? And so it's just been a constant moving target of the kind of childcare we need and the way that we can be involved.
After that first season with kids, we knew that not only did we need to bring childcare into our team, but we could afford to, because we were now 2 years into the business making money, and that was all just built into the business plan. So they were part of the Gathering Springs Farm team, paid as a member of staff. That was something that was really important to us when we designed, like we kind of set up our business to create an environment that was conducive to parenting and working, that didn't feel like you had to choose between the two.
Now, with kids ranging from 5 months to 5 years old, Jones and Obahovich have 2 childcare staff. Their integrated childcare model inspired Ashley Van Pelt to join their farm team in early 2025.
I think that being a mom farmer and finding other mom farmers and building that network in that village is like the greatest gift in the world. Like, I would sweat through every single piece of clothing that I owned. I'll do it 10 times a day if I could have that network and that group of people.
Through their network, these 3 farm moms help each other balance nurturing their children and cultivating their farm.
I bring her and she sort of sits on my back and I'm significantly less productive. And so I just sort of accepted that. And then at home, every morning we get the chickens together, we make our fresh eggs, and I sort of talk to her about it. My daughter's like learning to crack eggs.
I just feel so lucky and blessed that I have a job that I can mold around parenting rather than the other way around, which I think is a lot of jobs where you get that 6 weeks of maternity leave. Whereas here, parenting and work is like this all day long. I'm grabbing my baby, I'm, running out to the field. It's incredibly integrated.
And when it does come together, it's worth every road bump and hiccup in between.
I feel so grateful that I get to just wander out into the field with my kids who are still in their pajamas and, pick a couple boxes of berries. They stuff themselves full of berries, they're covered in stains afterwards, and then we get to go about our day, and it just feels very natural.
It raises a certain kind of kid to have this level of connection to how food is grown.
For these farm moms, the fruit of their labor is not just measured in bushels or dollars, but in memories and experiences that they'll cherish for a lifetime. For Real Virginia, I'm Elijah Griles.
We're so glad you could join us to celebrate all the bounty Virginia has to offer. From the kitchen to your home and garden to our beautiful wide open spaces, we're proud to say that this is Real Virginia. For everyone from the Virginia Farm Bureau, thanks for watching. Make it a great week.
Home will always be Virginia, between the Blue Ridge and Chesapeake Bay.
know that farmers don't always get a chance to hear from the folks who use their products in their homes and on their tables. So we visited the State Fair of Virginia to get some thoughts from our fairgoers on what it is that you do and how it impacts their lives every day.
I just want to say thank you to all the guys. We've got some wonderful farmers in Powhatan. We've got probably the best farmers in the world right here in Virginia. And we want to say thank you. We know it's a tough job. It's not a whole lot of big money rollers, but we want to thank you and God bless all of you guys.
I'd be happy to turn around and tell that farmer, male or female, exactly how appreciative I am for all the hard work they do. I can appreciate the ridiculous hours that they have to work and how they're out on the farm for what little return that they get. And I want them to know, I'd like you to know, with how appreciative I am and my family are for everything that we buy local, that we try to do as best we possibly can, whether it's on the beef or whether it's on the vegetables and things that we have when we grow. And I just want to, from the bottom of my heart, say thank you very much for all they do.
We have farmers in our family, and we appreciate what you do every day. From the milk, the pork that we use, all the vegetables that we get, we thank you and keep up what you do. We're there for you. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to say thank you for all that you do. I know it's difficult and very tiring, so thank you for having us to eat healthy, nutritious food. God bless you.
We're thankful for our farmers for giving us all of our food, locally sourced, and taking care of this baby's tummy so he can grow really big.
Thank you so much for raising the cows so that I can have milk every day.
Thank you, farmers, for giving me corn to eat. We love farm-to-table food and cows. Thank you, farmers.
Thank you.
Farmers are role models to me because they work so hard to get their job done. Their job never ends. It's always at home or at a different location, and they are probably the hardest workers in our country.
Muchas gracias a los granjeros de Virginia.
Thank you, farmers.
Thank you. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for all that you do and all the foods that you give us.
Thank you, farmers, for just the produce and so we can eat fresh and clean and so we can stay healthy.
Tomatoes, peppers, and strawberries. I want to be a farmer when I grow up. Thank you, farmers.